Get Smart is an American comedy television series that satirizes the secret agent genre. Created by Mel Brooks with Buck Henry, the show stars Don Adams, Barbara Feldon, and Edward Platt. Henry said they created the show by request of Daniel Melnick, who was a partner, along with Leonard Stern and David Susskind, of the show's production company, Talent Associates, to capitalize on the two biggest things in the entertainment world today James Bond and Inspector Clouseau. Brooks said, "It's an insane combination of James Bond and Mel Brooks comedy." The success of the show eventually spawned the follow-up films The Nude Bomb and Get Smart, Again, as well as a 1995 revival series and a 2008 film remake. In 2010, TV Guide ranked Get Smart's opening title sequence at number 2 on its list of TV's top 10 credits sequences, as selected by readers. During the show's run, it generated a number of popular catchphrases, including "Would you believe? Missed it by that much? Sorry about that, Chief, the old trick," and "Loving it, and I asked you not to tell me that." Plot: the series centers on bumbling secret agent Maxwell Smart, also known as Agent 86. His female partner is Agent 99, whose real name is never revealed in the series. Agents 86 and 99 work for Control, a secret U.S. government counterintelligence agency based in Washington, D.C. The pair investigates and thwarts various threats to the world, though Smart's bumbling nature and demands to do things by the book invariably cause complications. However, Smart never fails to save the day. Looking on is the long-suffering head of Control, who is addressed simply as Chief. The Nemesis of Control is KAOS, described as an international organization of evil. KAOS was supposedly formed in Bucharest, Romania, in 1904. Neither Control nor KAOS is actually an acronym. Many actors appeared as KAOS agents, including Tom Bosley, John Byner, Victor French, Alice Ghostley, Ted Knight, Pat Polson, Tom Poston, Leonard Nimoy, Robert Middleton, Barry Newman, Julie Newmar, Vincent Price, William Shalett, Larry Storch. Conrad Siegfried, played by Bernie Kopal, is Smart's KAOS archenemy. King Moody portrays the dim-witted but burly Starker, Siegfried's assistant. The enemies, world takeover plots and gadgets seen in Get Smart parody the James Bond movies. "Do what they did except just stretch it half an inch," Mel Brooks said of the methods of this TV series. Devices such as a shoe phone, the cone of silence and inner apartment booby traps were a regular part of most episodes. Max and 99 marry in Season 4 and have twins in Season 5. Agent 99 became the first woman on an American hit sitcom to keep her job after marriage and motherhood. Production: the show was inspired by the success of The Man from UNCLE. Talent Associates commissioned Mel Brooks and Buck Henry to write a script about a bungling James Bond-like hero. Brooks described the premise for the show they created in an October 1965 Time magazine article. "I was sick of looking at all those nice sensible situation comedies. They were such distortions of life. If a maid ever took over my house like Hazel, I'd set her hair on fire. I wanted to do a crazy, unreal comic strip kind of thing about something besides a family. No one had ever done a show about an idiot before. I decided to be the first." Brooks and Henry proposed the show to ABC, where network officials called their show un-American, and demanded a lovable dog to give the show more heart, and scenes showing Maxwell Smart's mother. Brooks strongly objected to their latter suggestion. They wanted to put a print housecoat on the show. Max was to come home to his mother and explain everything. "I hate mothers on shows. Max has no mother. He never had one." Although the cast and crew especially Adams contributed joke and gadget ideas, dialogue was rarely ad-libbed. An exception is the third season episode, The Little Black Book. Don Rickles encouraged Adams to misbehave, and ad-libbed. The result was so successful that the single episode was turned into a two-part episode. Production personnel: Brooks had little involvement with the series after the first season, but Buck Henry served as story editor through 1967. The crew of the show included Leonard B. Stern executive producer for the entire run of the series, Irving Sithmary music and theme composer and conductor for the entire run, Don Adams director of 13 episodes and writer of 2 episodes, David Davis associate producer, Gary Nelson director of the most episodes, Bruce Bilson director of the second most episodes, Gerald C. Gardner and D. Caruso head writers for the series, Reza Badiah occasional director, Alan Burns and Chris Hayward frequent writers and producers, Stan Burns and Mike Mama frequent writers, Richard Dunn occasional director, James Comack writer and director, Arne Sultan frequent writer and producer, Lloyd Turner and Whitey Mitchell frequent writers and producers of Season 5, Characters, Control. Control is a spy agency founded at the beginning of the 20th century by Harold Harmon Hargrade, a career officer in the United States Navy's N2 branch. Hargrade served as the first chief of Control. Control is not an acronym, but it is always shown in all capital letters as if it were. Maxwell Smart, code number Agent 86, is the central character. Despite being a top-secret government agent, he is absurdly clumsy, very naive and has occasional lapses of attention. Due to his frequent verbal gaffes and physical miscues, most of the people Smart encounters believe he is grossly incompetent. Despite these faults, Smart is also resourceful, skilled in hand-to-hand combat, a proficient marksman, and incredibly lucky. These assets have led to him having a phenomenal record of success in times of crisis in which he has often averted disaster, often on a national or global scale. This performance record means his only punishment in Control for his mistakes is that he is the only agent without 3 weeks annual vacation time. Smart uses multiple cover identities, but the one used most often is as a greeting card salesman executive. Owing to multiple assassination attempts, he tells his landlords he is in the insurance business, and on one occasion, that he works for the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Smart served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War and as an ensign in the U.S. Navy Reserve. In 1999, TV Guide ranked Maxwell Smart number 19 on its 50 greatest TV characters of all time list. The character appears in every episode. Agent 99 is the tall, beautiful female agent whose appearance is useful in undercover operations. Generally, Agent 99 is more competent than Smart, but Smart saves her life in several episodes. Snoopy Smart vs. the Red Baron is the introduction of 99's mother, who appears so thoroughly fooled by her daughter and Smart's cover stories that not even seeing them in combat while a prisoner of KAOS convinces her otherwise. However, at one point her mother indicates that 99's father was also a spy. Creator Buck Henry pointed out to actress Barbara Feldon on the DVD commentary for Season 3 that when he tried to add funny lines for Agent 99, they didn't want you to be joke funny. They wanted you to be glamorous and interesting. In the episode 99 Loses Control, 99 tells Victor that her name is Susan Hilton. When Max asks why she never told him what her real name was, she replies, "You never asked," to which Max says he prefers 99. Then, at the end of the episode, she says it is not her real name. Her name is in fact intentionally never revealed, even at their own wedding in Season 4. She appears in all but 7 episodes. She can typically be seen slouching, leaning, or sitting in scenes with Adams to hide the fact that she was slightly taller than Adams. The Chief is the head of Control. Although sarcastic and grouchy, the Chief is intelligent, serious, and sensible. He began his career at Control as Agent Q. He is supportive of Agents 86 and 99, but he is frustrated with Smart for his frequent failures and foul-ups. As revealed in the Season 1 episode The Day Smart Turned Chicken, his first name is Thaddeus, but it is rarely used. His cover identity is Harold Clark. Another time, when KAOS arranges for the Chief to be recalled to active duty in the U.S. Navy, his official name is John Doe. Humi the robot is a humanoid robot built by Dr. Ratton to serve KAOS, but in his first mission, Smart manages to turn him to the side of Control. Humi has numerous superhuman abilities, such as being physically stronger and faster than any human and being able to swallow poisons and register their name, type, and quantity, though his design does not include superhuman mental processing, most significantly characterized by an overly literal interpretation of commands. For example, when Smart tells Hemi to get a hold of yourself, he grasps each arm with the other. Hemi also has emotions and is programmed for neatness. Agent 8 is a retired control agent who appears in episode 23. He is revealed to be the Chief's best friend from his days at Control. Agent 13 is an agent who is usually stationed inside unlikely, or unlucky places, such as a cigarette machine, washing machines, lockers, trash cans, or fire hydrants. He tends to resent his assignments, such as when he is hiding in a bowling alley's ball-returning station and has to duck lest the balls strike him on the head. Agent 13 is featured in several Season 2 episodes. Agent 44 is Agent 13's predecessor and is also stationed in tight corners. Agent 44 sometimes falls into bouts of self-pity and complaining, and he would sometimes try to keep Max chatting for the company. Agent 44 appears in several episodes in the second half of the Season 1. In the final season, there is a new Agent 44, in 2 episodes. Agent Larabee is the Chief's slow-witted assistant. In a Season 5 episode, it is reported that if anything happens to Smart, Larabee will take his place. Robert Carveles was Don Adams's cousin. Larabee also appears in the Nude Bomb. Admiral Harold Harmon Hargrade or the Admiral is the former chief. He founded Control as a spy agency just after the turn of the 20th century. The Admiral has a poor memory, believing the current U.S. president is still Herbert Hoover. As a 91-year-old, he has bad balance and often falls over. Charlie Watkins Agent 38 is an undercover male agent and master of disguise. Agent 38 appears as a scantily clad glamorous woman in 2 Season 2 episodes. He also appears once in Season 4 as a different actress. He can also switch to a feminine voice as part of the disguise. Fang Agent K-13 is a poorly trained control dog, who is seen during Seasons 1 and 2. He was a very successful control agent for quite a few years. He was trained by Max, which probably explains why he does not always follow directions properly. Their relationship began in spy school, where they were members of the same graduating class. He sometimes uses the cover name Morris and his favorite toys are a turtleneck sweater, a rubber ducky and one of Max's slippers. Fang's career ends in the second season, as he is no longer showing energy and solving his cases. In honor of his outstanding service to Control, the chief retires Fang to a desk job, burying evidence. Fang was written out of the series in Season 2. He appears in 6 Season 1 episodes and 2 Season 2 episodes. He appears first in the pilot, Mr. Big, and his last one was the Season 2 episode Perils in a Pet Shop. Shots that involved Fang ended up running long and costing the production a lot of money in overtime and wasted time. After a few episodes of this, he was written out of the series. He was handled by Bill Weatherwax. Carlson is Control's gadget man during Season 2. While inspecting the gadgets, Max usually creates minor mayhem. Carlson follows several Control scientists who fulfill the same function in Season 1. They are the similarly named Carlton, the egotistical Windish, and Parker. Dr. Steele is a Control scientist who makes 3 appearances in Season 3. Dr. Steele is an intelligent, extremely attractive woman whose cover is a chorus dancer at a high-class burlesque theater. The entrance to her laboratory is through a large courier box side estage. Dr. Steele often performs complex scientific procedures while wearing her revealing performance costumes. She is often seen explaining her findings while warming up for her next dance, and then suddenly departing for her performance. Dr. Steele is replaced with the similar Dr. Simon, who appears in 2 episodes of Season 4, is mentioned once in Season 5. Harry, who one of the most interesting of the guest characters, who is a Hawaiian detective from Honolulu, who is depicted as a send-up of the fictional detective Charlie Chan. Who is not a member of Control, but they work together on murder cases. Whose introduction usually creates confusion in the manner of Abbott and Costello's, who's on first? Routine. Who always analyzes a mystery by presenting two possibilities, of which the latter is absurd. Max likes to upstage Who by jumping in with two possibilities of his own, which are even crazier than Who's. Who responds with amazing. Spoken in a tone of disbelief rather than approval, but Max is oblivious to this. Initially, the character was a lampoon of Chan, but in a later episode Who appeared rather more brilliant and resourceful, with Max, though helpful as always, appearing more so as a contrast. KAOS. KAOS is the international organization of evil formed in Bucharest, Romania, in 1904. Like Control, KAOS is not an acronym. In an episode of the series, after making a series of demands in a recording, the speaker mentions the demands are from KAOS, a Delaware corporation. When Smart asks the chief about this, he mentions they did it for tax reasons. Mr. Big is the presumed head of KAOS and a little person. He only appears in the black and white pilot episode, and is killed by his own doomsday death ray. A successor is chosen in another episode but is arrested by Control. A few nameless KAOS chiefs appears in subsequent episodes. Ludwig von Siegfried, Conrad Siegfried, Count von Siegfried or simply Siegfried is a recurring villain, and the vice president in charge of public relations and terror at KAOS, though his title does vary. Siegfried is Maxwell Smart's opposite number, and nemesis, even though the two characters share similar traits and often speak fondly of one another even in the midst of attempting to assassinate each other. Speaking English with an exaggerated German accent, the grey-haired, mustachioed, and dueling-scarred Siegfried's catchphrase is, "Sei es KAOS. They don't, some action here." Starker is Siegfried's chief henchman. Starker is an overzealous lackey whose most notable trait is his abrupt personality change from sadistic villain to presumptuous child, interrupting conversations to helpfully elaborate, using silly vocal noises to imitate things such as engines or guns. This prompts Siegfried to utter his catchphrase, Starker. Neen. Sei es KAOS. They don't, weakly imitates Starker's sound effect here. Although he looks rather young for it, he claims to have been track champion of the Third Reich, and the second man out of El Alamein. The Claw is a Julius No-type Asian villain representing the East Asian branch of KAOS. In place of the Claw's left hand is a powerful mechanical prosthesis with a mobile fingers and an occasional attachment, hence his name. Sometimes the Claw would accidentally nab something with it, creating confusion. He is unable to pronounce the letter L and mispronounces his name as Craw, with Smart repeatedly referring to him as the Craw, much to his annoyance. Like Siegfried, he has a huge, dim-witted assistant, named Bobo. Nats or Spinoza is a villain who was arrested by Max at an unknown point and desires revenge for it. He attempts to exact his revenge using the KAOS robot Himi, though Himi ultimately defects to Control. Later, Spinoza hatches a plan to destroy Himi using a new robot named Groppo, though this plan too, ultimately fails. Dr. Ratton is a scientist who defected to KAOS. He built the robot Himi for KAOS, but his abuse of Himi ultimately leads to Himi defecting, who shoots the doctor. Dr. Ratton survived the wound to construct the robot Groppo for Spinoza. However, to ensure that Dr. Ratton does not return to the side of Control and create more robots to counter KAOS, Spinoza uses Groppo to kill Ratton. Simon the Likeable, who appears in, and Baby Makes 4 Parts 1 and 2 as a KAOS killer whose nice face mesmerizes everyone into liking him except 99's mother, who knocks him out with a right cross, because Simon resembles her late, much hated, and unlamented husband. Production notes: gadgets, telephones are concealed in over 50 objects, including a necktie, comb, watch, and a clock. A recurring gag is Max's shoe phone. To use or answer it, he is to take off his shoe. There were a number of variations on the shoe phone. In iShot 86 today his shoe phone is disguised as a golf shoe, complete with cleats, developed by the attractive armorer Dr. Simon. Smart's shoes sometimes contain other devices housed in the heels, an explosive pellet, a smoke bomb, compressed air capsules that propelled the wearer off the ground, and a suicide pill. Agent 99 had her concealed telephones as well. She had one in her makeup compact, and also one in her fingernail. To use this last device, she would pretend to bite her nail nervously, while actually talking on her nail phone. On February 17, 2002, the prop shoe phone was included in a display titled Spies, Secrets from the CIA, KGB, and Hollywood, a collection of real and fictional spy gear that exhibited at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California. Flinders University in South Australia has researched medical applications for shoe phone technology after being inspired by the show. Gag phones also appear in other guises. In the episode Too Many Chiefs, Max tells Tanya, the KAOS informer which he is protecting, that if anyone breaks in to pick up the house phone, dial 1-1-7, and press the trigger on the handset, which converts it to a gun. The phone gun is only used that once, but Max once carried a gun phone, a revolver with a rotary dial built into the cylinder. In the episode Satan Place, Max simultaneously holds conversations on 7 different phones: the shoe, his tie, his belt, his wallet, a garter, a handkerchief and a pair of eyeglasses. Other unusual locations include a garden hose, a car cigarette lighter, a bottle of perfume, the steering wheel of his car, a painting of Agent 99, the headboard of his bed, a cheese sandwich, lab test tubes, a Bunsen burner, a plant in a planter beside the real working phone, and inside another full-sized working phone. Other gadgets include a bulletproof invisible wall in Max's apartment that lowers from the ceiling, into which Max and others often walk. A camera hidden in a bowl of soup that takes a picture of the person eating the soup with each spoonful. A mini magnet on a belt, which turns out to be stronger than KAOS's Marxi magnet. And a powerful miniature laser weapon in the button of a sports jacket. Another of the show's recurring gags is the cone of silence. Smart would pedantically insist on following Control's security protocols. When in the chief's office he would insist on speaking under the cone of silence. 2 transparent plastic hemispheres which are electrically lowered on top of Max and Chief which invariably malfunction, requiring the characters to shout loudly to even have a chance of being understood by each other. Bystanders in the room could often hear them better, and sometimes relay messages back and forth. The cone of silence was the idea of Buck Henry, though it was preceded in an episode of the syndicated television show science fiction theater titled Barrier of Silence, written by Lou Houston, that first aired on September 3, 1955, 10 years ahead of the NBC comedy. Cars. The car Smart is seen driving most frequently in the show for seasons 1-2 as a red 1965 Sunbeam Tiger 2-seat roadster. 3-4 a VW Carmen Gaia, and season 5 an Opel GT. Episode 1 he drove a Ferrari 250 GT PF Spider Cabriolet. Due to the various custom features of Max's car, like the machine gun and ejection seat, the Sunbeam Alpine, upon which the Tiger was based, was used by customizer Gene Winfield because the Alpine's 4-cylinder engine afforded more room under the hood than the V8 in the Tiger. AMT, Winfield's employer, made a model kit of the Tiger, complete with hidden weapons. It is the only kit of the Tiger and has been reissued multiple times as a stock Tiger. The car used on camera cannot be located, but the personal car of Don Adams was restored in 2005 and still exists, and the Alpine Tiger was also recreated, in 2002. In the black and white pilot episode only, Smart drives a 1961 Ferrari 250 GT PF Spider Cabriolet. In the opening credits only of seasons 3 and 4, Smart drives a light blue Volkswagen Carmen Gaia, as Volkswagen became a sponsor of the show. In season 4, Adams uses a yellow Citroën N2CV in the wedding episode with Love and Twitches, and a blue 1968 Ford Shelby Mustang GT 500 convertible with a tan interior and 4 seats in the episodes A Tale of Two Tales, and The Laser Blazer. In season 5, Buick became a show sponsor, so the Tiger was replaced with a gold 1969 Opel GT, which appears in every episode. In the short-lived 1995 TV series, Smart is trying to sell the Carmen Gaia through the classified ads. In Get Smart, again, Smart is seen driving a red 1986 Alfa Romeo Spider Veloce. The Sunbeam Tiger, the Carmen Gaia, and the Opel GT make brief appearances in the 2008 film. Both are first seen in the Control Museum, along with the original shoe phone, which Smart also briefly uses. Spies at Work, Control and KAOS did not seem to be above everyday bureaucracy and business quirks. KAOS is a Delaware corporation for tax purposes. Control's union is the Guild of Surviving Control Agents, and Max is their negotiator. When a captured KAOS agent tells him about their survivor's benefits, the chief is within earshot, and Max promptly uses the information for his labor talks. In one episode, where Max infiltrates a KAOS-run garden shop, Max refuses to arrest the manager until after 5 p.m., so he can collect a full day's pay. The chief threatens to fire him, but Max is not afraid. According to Control's seniority policy, if I get fired from Control, Larabee moves up. The chief gives in and lets Max stay on the job, rather than risk having the inept Larabee take Max's place. In another episode, Siegfried and Max casually discuss the various flavors of cyanide pills they have been issued. It is raspberry that month at Control, and Max offers Siegfried a taste. In the same episode, Max and Siegfried have a show and tell of various weapons they have. Max boasts of having a deadly non-regulation pistol from a Chicago mail-order house. Cover names were common. In The Man Called Smart, Part 1, a phone call is announced for an alias, and Max identifies himself as the person in question. Second and third calls come in, each with its own alias, the last of which is his own real name of Maxwell Smart, which he initially does not answer. Smart tells the skeptical gallery owner that those are his names as well, making it obvious to any spy that he is taking calls from fellow agents and informants. Smart then makes himself even more visible by tangling the handset cords of the three phones. Control has a policy of burning pertinent documents after cases are closed. The reasons were detailed in their Rules and Regulations book, but nobody can read them, since they burned the only copy. In the interest of company morale, both Control and KAOS have their own bowling teams. In one episode where Smart takes over as chief, it is noted in a conversation between Smart and Larabee that Control has a delicatessen. Notable guest stars, Get Smart used several familiar character actors and celebrities, and some future stars, in guest roles, including both Bill Dana and Jonathan Harris, with whom Adams appeared on The Bill Dana Show, also appeared, as did Adams' father, William Yarmy, brother, Dick Yarmy, and daughter, Caroline Adams. The series featured several cameo appearances by famous actors and comedians, sometimes uncredited and often comedian friends of Adams. Johnny Carson appeared, credited as special guest conductor, in Aboard the Orient Express. Carson returned for an uncredited cameo as a royal footman in the third season episode The King Lives. Other performers to make cameo appearances included Steve Allen, Milton Berle, Ernest Bourne, Wally Cox, Robert Culp, Phyllis Diller, Buddy Hackett, Bob Hope, and Martin Landau. Actress Rose McTom appeared in at least 44 episodes usually as a background extra with no speaking role. In the Season 1 episode Too Many Chiefs, when she is shown in a photograph, Max refers to her as My Aunt Rose, but the chief corrects Max by saying that it's actually KAOS agent Alexei Sebastian disguised as Max's Aunt Rose. Fans refer to her as Aunt Rose in all of her dozens of appearances, even though her character is never actually named in most of them. Episodes. Broadcast history. The series was broadcast on NBC TV from September 18, 1965, to March 29, 1969, after which it moved to the CBS network for its final season, running from September 26, 1969, to May 15, 1970, with 138 total episodes produced. During its 5-season run, Get Smart only broke the top 30 twice. It ranked at number 12 during its first season, and at number 22 during its second season, before falling out of the top 30 for its last 3 seasons. The series won 7 Emmy Awards, and it was nominated for another 14 Emmys, as well as 2 Golden Globe Awards. In 1995, the series was briefly resurrected, starring Addams and Feldon, with Andy Dick as Max's and 99 Son. Emmy Awards, adaptations in various media, films. 4 feature-length movie versions have been produced after the end of the NBC-CBS run of the TV series. 1980 the theatrically released The Nude Bomb also known as The Return of Maxwell Smart or Maxwell Smart and The Nude Bomb. 1989, the made-for-TV Get Smart, Again. On ABC, 2008, Get Smart starring Steve Carell, alongside Anne Hathaway, from Warner Brothers Pictures. Directed by Peter Siegel. The film includes a dedication to Addams and Platt, who had died in 2005 and 1974, respectively. In its opening weekend, Get Smart topped the box office with $39.2 million. 2008, Get Smart's Bruce and Lloyd, Out of Control. A made-for-DVD spin-off revolving around minor characters, Bruce and Lloyd, the masterminds behind the high-tech gadgets that are often used by Smart. On October 7, 2008, it was reported that Warner Brothers and Village Roadshow Pictures, Mosaic Media Group are producing a sequel. Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway are set to return, but the status of other cast members has not yet been announced. Television, Get Smart, Again. Eventually prompted the development of a short-lived 1995 weekly series on FOX, also titled Get Smart, with Addams and Feldon reprising their characters, with Maxwell Smart now being the chief of control as their bungling son, Zach, becomes Control Star Agent. A late episode of the 1995 series shows that just as Siegfried is leaving a room, Maxwell Smart accidentally activates an atomic bomb just before the end of the show. This ending is similar to a device used by the Get Smart-inspired series Sledgehammer. At the end of its first season, hopes for the series were not high, as Andy Dick had already moved on to News Radio, which premiered weeks later in 1995. With the revival series on FOX, Get Smart became the first television franchise to air new episodes on each of the aforementioned current 4 major American television networks, although several TV shows in the 1940s and 1950s aired on NBC, CBS, ABC and Dumont. The different versions of Get Smart did not all feature the original lead cast. The Get Smart episode The Reluctant Redhead connects Get Smart to the man from UNCLE by having Grovnik, the spoiler, being a thrush agent now working for KAOS. Get Smart was parodied on a sketch in the Mexican comedy show De Nuez en Cuando called Super Agent 3.1486, making fun of the Spanish title of the series and the way the series is dubbed. An early Mad TV sketch titled Get Smarty placed the Maxwell Smart character and situations from the film Get Shorty. An episode of F-Troop called Spy, Counter-Spy, Counter-Spy featured Pat Harrington Jr. imitating Don Adams as Secret Agent B. Wise. The Simpsons episode Bart vs. Lisa vs. the Third Grade parodies the opening of Get Smart in the couch gag. Homer goes through many futuristic doors and passageways until he reaches the phone booth, falls through the floor, and lands on the couch with the rest of the family already seated. In the cartoon The X's one episode with Mr. X was a parody of both Get Smart, in that his shoe was a phone, and Mission Impossible, in that his shoe blew up after delivering a message. Similarly, an episode of Green Acres spoofed Get Smart with a shoe phone and Mission Impossible with a self-destructing note. Addams in similar roles. In the 1960s, Addams had a supporting role on the sitcom The Bill Dana Show as the hopelessly inept hotel detective Byron Glick. His speech mannerisms, catchphrases, and other comedy bits were adapted for his Maxwell Smart role on Get Smart. When WCGV Milwaukee, Wisconsin signed on the air in 1980, Addams did in-house promos as Agent 86 to let viewers know when the reruns of Get Smart aired on the station by using his shoe phone. In one of Addams' 5 appearances as a guest passenger on the series The Love Boat, his character, even when he thought he had been shot, makes no attempt to visit the ship's doctor. The role of the doctor on Love Boat was played by Bernie Kopell, who played Siegfried on Get Smart. In 1982, Adams starred in a series of local commercials for New York City electronics chain Savimart as Maxwell Smart. The slogan was "Get Smart. Get Savemart Smart." In addition, Adams starred in a series of commercials for White Castle in 1992, paying homage to his Get Smart character with his catchphrase "Would you believe?" In the 1980s, Adams provided the voice of a bungling cyborg secret agent in the animated series Inspector Gadget. This later became a feature film starring Matthew Broderick in the title role of Inspector John Brown Gadget, and its prequel series Gadget Boy and Heather. Neither were directly related to Get Smart. In the mid-1980s, Adams reprised his role of Maxwell Smart for a series of telephone banking commercials for Empire of America Federal Savings Bank in Buffalo, New York. The telephone banking service was called Smart Line, and Sherwin Greenberg Productions produced radio and television ads, as well as a series of still photos for use in promotional flyers that featured Don Adams' Maxwell Smart character wearing the familiar trench coat and holding a shoe phone to his ear. The television commercials were videotaped in Sherwin Greenberg Productions studio on a set that resembled an old alleyway which utilized fog-making machinery for special effect. The production company even secured a look-alike of the red Alpine that Adams used in the television series, making it a memorable promotion for those familiar with the series of nearly 20 years earlier. In the late 1980s, Adams portrayed Smart in a series of TV commercials for Toyota New Zealand, for the 1990 model Toyota Starlet. While it is customary for the actor to go to the foreign location for shooting, Adams's apparent intense dislike of long-distance flying meant that the New Zealand specification car had to be shipped to the US for filming. He also appeared in another series of Canadian commercials in the late 1990s for a dial-around long-distance carrier. In the movie Back to the Beach, Adams played the harbor master, who used several of Maxwell Smart's catchphrases. Adams played Smart in a 1989 TV commercial for Kmart. He was seen talking on his trademark shoe phone, telling the chief about the great selection of electronics available at Kmart. An exact replica of himself approaches him, and Smart says, "Don't tell me you're a double agent." Adams also appeared in a number of McDonald's hamburger restaurant television commercials which also featured numerous classic nostalgic TV series stars, such as Barbara Billingsley from Leave It to Beaver, Buddy Ebsen from the Beverly Hillbillies, and Al Lewis from the Munsters. Books and Comics. A series of novels based on characters and dialogue of the series were written by William Johnston and published by Tempo Books in the late 1960s. Dell Comics published a comic book for 8 issues during 1966 and 1967, drawn in part by Steve Ditko. Proposed movie, the 1966 Batman movie, made during that TV show's original run, prompted other television shows to propose similar films. The only one completed was Munster Go Home, which was a box office flop, causing the cancellation of other projects, including the Get Smart movie. The script for that movie was turned into the 3-part episode, A Man Called Smart, airing April 8, 15 and 22, 1967. Play. In 1967, Christopher Sergel adapted a play Get Smart based on Brooks's and Henry's pilot episode. DVD releases and rights. All 5 seasons are available as box sets in Region 1 and Region 4. The Region 1 discs are published by HBO Home Video, and Region 4 by Time Life Video. Each Region 1 box contains 4 discs, while Region 4 editions have a 5th disc with bonus material. Region 4 editions are also available as individual discs with 4 to 5 episodes per disc. The Season 1 set was released in both regions in 2008. Seasons 2 and 3 box sets were released in Region 4 on July 23, 2008. Seasons 4 and 5 were released in Region 4 on November 5, 2008. Seasons 2, 3, 4 and 5 in Region 1 were released throughout 2009. Another box set of the complete series is available in both regions, first published in 2006 by Time Life Video. In 2009 the Region 1 edition was replaced by an HBO edition, and became more widely available. All editions contain a 5th disc for each season, with bonus material. The set has 25 discs altogether. The first 4 seasons were produced for NBC by Talent Associates. When it moved to CBS at the start of season 5, it became an in-house production, with Talent Associates as silent partner. The series was sold to NBC Films for syndication. Over decades, U.S. distribution has changed from National Telefilm Associates to Republic Pictures, to World Vision Enterprises, to Paramount Domestic Television, to CBS Paramount Domestic Television, to the current distributor, CBS Television Distribution. For decades, the syndication rights of all but a handful of the 5th season episodes were encumbered with restrictions and reporting requirements. As a result, most of that season was rarely seen in syndication. The distribution changes were the result of corporate changes, especially the 2006 split of Viacom into 2 companies. HBO currently owns the copyrights to the series itself, due to Time Life Films' 1977 acquisition of Talent Associates. Home videos are distributed by HBO Home Video. For a time the DVD release was only available through Time Life. Warner Brothers Television owns international distribution rights. References. External links: Get Smart at the Internet Movie Database, Museum of Broadcast Communications.